Thank you all. Anybody recognize this? So if you're here in Philadelphia, you should definitely visit this. It's not too far from the hotel. Uh, but you should definitely come to Columbus for this. The Ohio State University. All right, so I'm going to talk about applications of digital pathology and AI, specifically in how data is valuable today. And I want to show you what data can be used for in research, clinical education. So pathology is at a cross section of technology, advancement, and research, but there's also a threat to pathology. So with these new technologies, like the number one question I get asked is AI going to replace pathologists? So I believe no, but some of the tasks that pathologists do will be replaced. And it's good for pathology, right? So what are the challenges in pathology today, right? So we have staff shortage. And how many pathologists in the room? You love to go to work. You love to fill synoptic reports. I was on service yesterday, and before I left, I actually made a huge error. I was in Epic and LIS and the image management system, and I signed out. I called a patient with bladder cancer. I gave them metastatic renal cell carcinoma. So even today, there are things that we need to solve. Obviously, within seconds, I call the clinician because now, as soon as you release your report, the patients get the report, right? So we have workload increases, we have pathologist shortage. In terms of residency, about 40% of the residents in the US residency slots, there are I think 650 slots. 30 to 40% are not even filled by US medical students. So pathology is at a cross section, but it's evolving and we have new opportunities. So we are facing a decline in the number of available pathologists. And I asked pathologists, why don't you want to work longer? Why do you want to retire early? And the number one thing is the workload and the burnout. So this is an opportunity for pathology in many ways. And throughout this conference, you will see this. But I want to introduce you to precision pathology, where everything comes together. So you've heard precision medicine. Pathologists are at the cross sections of improving diagnostic workflows, predicting patient outcomes. We are identifying biomarkers, risk stratification, and we can play a big role in reducing errors. So many challenges, but it's still exciting to be a pathologist, and it's exciting to be in this field. But the key to this is data, right? So if you think about data, we have pipelines of data, and pathologists contribute a lot of this data into the EMR, and which is clinical decision making. So as you think about, so I asked ChatGPT or generative AI to make a model of a whole slide scanner. So what did they make? So you can see, it's not really a scanner, but this is a rendition of ChatGPT to make whole slide imaging. But we've come a long way, and today we can scan a slide under a minute. But it all started in late 1500s, and the microtome in 1865. So pathology is not new to machine learning, right? So if you think about the Papadopoulos stain, this was invented here in the 1930s. So in this picture, you can see Mary Papillon was actually the patient who contributed hundreds and hundreds of slides every day to make the PAP test possible. So where are we today? We can now digitize slides, we can interrogate cells, and we can call a PAP test if it's positive or not. So if you think about the digital microscope, in the first slide scanner was built in 1994. And it took about $300,000 to set it up, and it took 24 hours to scan a single slide. So Ryan is in charge of our business development, and he's saying, no, that's not possible. So that's what it took. But we went from hours to seconds to minutes, right? So one of the first commercial scanner was built in Pittsburgh, Interscope. It advanced the technology, but even in that time, it took 5 to 10 minutes to scan a slide. So we have favorable regulatory environment now. Many scanners are approved, and we are moving towards more validation and no LDT, right? So where are we today with scanning slides? So we can scan slides. We can load up to 1,000 slides in a scanner, walk away. So these are medical instruments now. And we can scan a 1.5 centimeter tissue under a minute. And, if I gave this talk 15 years ago, we would be talking about which scanner to use, what slides are, what. Right now, these are diagnostic quality images. It's a commodity. And as a GU pathologist, I can look at this slide. Who thinks it's cancer? So no pathologist. I want cancer or no? It's cancer. But I want to be able to look at inside the cell and the nucleus and see nucleoli. And the scanners are evolving, right? So we can do, how many cytopathologists in the room? I know Anu is there. Z stacking is important for you, right? You want to be able to see this in real time. And it's expensive, right? It's not cheap to scan slides. So at the end of the day, we have to weigh the benefits and the cost. So I won't get into that debate right now, but overall, the cost of scanning slides is going down and adoption is increasing. So once you digitize the slides, what can you do with these pixel data? So I want to introduce to you to a concept which may not be very easy to visualize, but when you think about genomics, we think about proteomics. When you think about patients who have cancer, they have a unique cancer. We talk about genomics, we talk about mutations, but let's think about what else is there. So there is a lot of information. So with digital pathology and AI, we are able to take a whole slide image. So what's the size of an average whole slide image? Olive. What? Units. In gigabytes. Megabytes. So it's about, in gigabytes, it's about 1.2. So I want to introduce you to the concept of pixelomics, which is every digital image is made of pixels, right? So think about this concept. If you decipher an image into pixels, you can integrate many things. You can use it for diagnosis, you can extract features, and so on. So from the glass slide to pixels to diagnosis. So we've come a long way, but life is about choices, right? So we are in Philadelphia. What is the best number one choice you need to make in Philadelphia? Yeah, which cheesesteak to get, right? So I'm biased, but you have choices in Philadelphia, right? So Geno's or Pat's, but it's more complex than that, right? So with cheese whiz or not? These are choices, right? These are real choices. So fortunately, in the Philadelphia airport, we have Geno's. So I tried it last night. But so if you are, how many of you in the audience is going to buy their first scanner or their second scanner or their AI solution? So it's all about choices, right? So there are many, many components today in digital pathology, but many, many choices. So as you go through this conference, think about all these choices. So I'm showing you a picture of something historical. And anyone who can answer this question will get a special prize. So where is this picture taken? And where is this? Hmm. What? Here. Okay. Or what? Where are we? We're actually not very. We're actually not very far away. So this is the first medical school in the USA, in Philadelphia, which was transformed to this. So just like pathology from microscopes, we have evolved. So why today, right? Why now? So we have data, we have pixels, we are in a this is the perfect storm. How many vendors in the room? Right? How many pathologists in the room? So this is the perfect storm because there are solutions today which suppose all the things that we are talking about. So cost-effective, high-performance is computing, better algorithms, and abundance of data. So we've come from the first system which was approved in 2017 to AI algorithms being approved. And we now have algorithms which are dictating the care of the patient, which are based on AI in pathology. And we also have lung cancer. This is an example of an algorithm which was approved recently as a breakthrough for lung cancer. So clearly, as a pathologist, I have a choice. Do we endorse this? Are we part of this? Or this is going to be a send out test? So at OSU, we are now into, sorry, in 2016, 4.7 million sites scanned. And pathologists are completely digital. And engagement of pathologists is continues to increase. I can look at a slide today from anywhere in the world. So it's a complete digital pathology system. So what as a pathologist, what do I love about digital pathology? And I know we have many sessions today about this, but the ability to look at a patient's data and be able to have direct interface to the LIS is the most valuable thing. And going from glass slides to digital is the most valuable thing. So what else is coming, right? So beyond the glass slide, so you're going to hear about generative AI a lot, but overall, it's influencing the practice of pathology every day. So these are some examples of things that we do today in pathology. So if you think about things that you do every day, as a pathologist, what is the first thing that you learned? Is pattern recognition. So all these algorithms that we are talking about today, they will help us to take an image and decipher it into many pieces and ask questions about this. So if you look at this image, within 28 seconds, you're looking at an area which is 2 millimeters square. And if I ask a pathologist what is the positive score or the negative score, we can look at a lymph node, we can identify areas which are cancer in lymph nodes. We can also not only, so if you look at this lymph node, AI can tell you this is this is colorectal cancer with 99% confidence that this is colorectal cancer. What about GU pathology? So I know Mahul is going to talk about it. So this is the case from my sign 2 days ago. If you look at this field, as a pathologist, if you look at this field, do you need AI? How many of you think that you need AI? So I did use AI, and they said it's cancer. But one of the residents looked at this field. How many of you think this is cancer? So I know Mahul is there. Cancer?
It's difficult to work it out. It depends on how many people say.
Yeah. So I called it cancer. I didn't look at AI, but AI called it cancer, right? So what about this field? So this is a nerve involved by cancer. So the point is, today we have technologies which can take an image and give you a diagnosis, and they're commercially available. So how many of you actually think we can trust this?
Trust but verify.
Trust or verify, right? So we've done many studies on this. So this is an example of a study we did. We actually took 800 slides, but the conclusion was we looked at the same slides from multiple scanners and multiple pathologist rates. But even today, I think when I look at an AI call, it's focused more on sensitivity. not so much on specificity. So we have many tools for pathologists today, quantifying mitoses, looking at areas, and so there are many helper tools for pathologists. So this is an algorithm that we are building at OSU, which is to separate bladder cancer from reactive. So how will AI help pathologists, generative AI specifically? So if you think about how long did it take to get to 1 million users from Netflix, 3.5 years. ChatGPT, only 5 days. So there are many applications in pathology today which will help in decision support, in technical applications, in administrative applications, in unimodal applications, multimodal applications, and integration into pathology workflow. So this is an example of a dynamic pathology workplace where you can see a patient who has cancer and you're looking at it, the history. AI can help prompt you. It can help you guide you through the diagnostic process. What virtual staining, right? So this is an example of generative AI. So on the left-hand side, you can see H&E slides which are generated in a lab. On the right-hand side, these are images which have been generated by the computer. So which one is chemical, which one is digital? The left is chemical because I have chemical. Oh, what do you think? Yeah. These are images that I took yesterday. Can anyone tell them apart? Only. So one of them is AI, one of them is actually in the lab, right? What about this one? So the point is, as a pathologist, I am super scared. Are you super scared? So we can generate an image from an unstained slide and even from the tissue. What about prostate cancer, right? So this is a triple stain. Which one is real? Which one is artificial? It's a trichrome stain. So as you think about your daily life as a pathologist, with this happening, what do you think about? Not only immunostains and special stains, but you can actually predict mutations and MSI. So are you afraid of Gen AI? So I'm not going to say what I believe in, but I think as an audience, you should think about the future. Because pathology has many threats today, but this is the number one threat. If you don't acknowledge it, if you don't believe in it, you will be surprised with things that are happening. We can do molecular predictions with H&E images now. Right? So these are not things that I'm making up. These are published studies. So as a pathologist, when I learned pathology, I looked at slides. I remember before I went to sign out, I used to go look at books. We didn't have PubMed as much. We didn't have Google as much. But we tried to find a similar image in the archives. Today, we can do this readily. So we have chatbots in pathology today, which will look at your image and make a prediction. Do you predict that? Do you trust that? You can start a chat with an image right now, even today. So this is an example of a skin lesion where the pathologist is asking AI, what is this? And they are suggesting immunostains. They're suggesting a differential diagnosis. So starting from where we were with the microscope and the microtome, you've come a long way, clearly. And during this conference, you will see many, many different products and listen to many talks. But think about pixels, the power of pixels, histiomics, cytomics. How do we harness this power? But how many vendors in the room? No, keep your hands up. Okay, so we have several problems to solve, right? So even today, when I look at a prostate biopsy, what is my number one problem? I cannot take that data back into my report. There is no integration with the LIS and the EMR for the AI algorithms. There is no regulation, right? So I can use any algorithm I want. So we need to work on that. And there are many image formats. If we want to take this data, we have like 4.7 million images at OSU. How do we harness that power of those images and make it available for research? And we also have closed systems. We also have AI tools that are not well integrated. We also have workflow issues. So I use AI, but I don't use it to its full potential today. We still have to solve the problem of storage and decompression and which monitor we are going to use. So in conclusions, there are many, throughout this conference, you're going to see several talks. We're going to talk about transformation in pathology. We're going to talk about impact on patient care, importance of collaboration. But the number one thing is, how do we all work together as a community to solve these problems? There is a lot of work that needs to be done. So will there be digital pathology in the future? AI, precision pathology? So in my opinion, in the next 10 years, there will be no digital pathology. So this conference will no longer be needed. There will be no AI. There will be no precision pathology. It'll all be pathology. So with this, I know I'm at the end of my time. So at the end, we just want to build tools for pathologists. So we are at a cross point where there's a threat from all these technologies. And in Columbus, what's the number one question pathologists ask me? Will we be replaced by AI? So as you go through this conference, think about that question. So I want to invite questions now.